Okay, so here's what's going on. Every single human being in America is free. If you don't feel like you're free, it's probably because you owe something to someone. Most people in America have car notes and mortgages, and that's what usually like ties them down, right? But every single contract that you've ever signed in America, every single contract you've ever signed in America paid for the thing already. There's mechanisms put in place so that when you sign for it, there's money. Now, what ends up happening in this false matrix that ended up being laid over America, especially financially, is this. When you released and created money in the system of America and the way that it works, you created interest, and that's extra money that's on top of it. And you have to manage your interest from the money that you create, and we don't manage it. So then, when I say we, I mean like a lot of people since like 1492. It's not. Bankers know this. Bankers, lawyers, doctors, people in secret societies, they know this, but the information is out now, so we're just talking about it, right? When you sign a contract, there's this thing called interest, beneficial interest, and they're going to move that contract around in different ways. And you don't even have to know. It doesn't matter. All you have to know is when they move that contract around, because it's got your name on it, you should get paid, and that makes sense. And they're going to make a whole bunch of fucking arguments and say words that don't even like actually make sense as to why you shouldn't get paid for the thing that you created, but you should. And people are realizing this. And that's the big haha moment, at least in the financial world, right? In the religious world, it's you're the light. You know, you're the Christ, you're God. It says it in the book. But in the same way it says it in the financial code, people don't read the financial code. And because you don't read, you can't enforce. And because you can't enforce, there's not a change, you know? But it's actually quite simple. You created money, that money created money, and you're actually supposed to be getting paid that money. But you're actually so stupid financially that you think that you're supposed to pay, in the same way that you're so stupid spiritually that you've thought for hundreds of years that you're the sinner. You're not. You thought for hundreds of years that you pay taxes. The government's supposed to pay taxes to you. See, there's all these flips where as soon as you say them, people will say like no, but they can't prove it. And then when you go to the document that allows you to prove it, when you go to the document that allows you to prove it, it actually says, like, the people created the government, so of course the government's going to pay the people. Well, where else would it be? Of course the banks don't lend money, they borrow money. It says that. It says the banks borrow money. But if you weren't smart enough to read your contract, are you going to be smart enough to read the rules of contracting? No. Which is why you're here. Somehow, some way, the universe put this video on your timeline for you to just go read your fucking contract. Just go read it, dude. And then you're going to look for the parts where you gave the security interest away and you gave interest away. And you're going to look for the parts where other people are signing and you're not going to find it. And you're going to realize you created a contract with yourself that created money and other people are taking the contracts you created with yourself and they're making money on it. You created a contract with yourself to create money so you would never be poor, because you actually have the capacity to do that in many ways, which is what rich people do. But the whole system is based on everybody doing it, but they don't know it. So they end up paying back money that they created. It's wild. But that's how it works. Love and peace, peace and love. You don't need a lawyer. You just need to learn how to read. Peace.